What's up everybody, Darkomitiv here. Welcome to the next chapter of this tutorial where I know as we said we're gonna jump into the details and like making bricks and stuff, but I realized a lot of my primary forms are still kind of vague, still need to be worked out, so I figured now it's as good as time as any to make that right before we go and jump into the details. So I'm just taking my block mesh that I already established, pulling out some references on how wooden beams and structures on houses work, just so it would look at least decent, believable. Fixing out some weird edges that I have, and building out windows, fixing the main topology of the house, that kind of stuff. Because as I said, my block mesh was pretty loose, pretty, um, so to speak, messy. I will have a little bit of cleanup to do, but that is not a problem because at this point a lot of things will change and will get, it will get messy. It's inevitable. So reusing stuff as always. I've already done this for the previous window, so just rescaling them, reshaping them. And the good part about this is because I'm only using the mesh that I already have, I'm not actually cutting new edges. Uh, even the proportions in overall shape will change in UV layout, in headers UV layout. There's a very cool option where you can copy UVs across meshes, even if the all the proportion changed, as long as you don't push it too far, or you don't start splitting edges like I'm doing on this version. You're pretty much good to go. So that's a really cool really cool option they have, and I really hope that Maya will implement something like that, because it will make our lives so much easier. But for now, I will keep using UV layout. I love that software. I've been using it for a very long time. Well, since I started basically. And yeah, so after this, I'm just gonna basically go and fix the topology of the house, so it's subdivision mesh. As I mentioned, it's a good practice. Probably could have get away with not making it subdivision mesh, but it just takes a couple of minutes, and like if you can do it, just why not. It keeps everything clean, everything consistent, and like if it was like a big bottleneck, a big time waster, I would probably keep the house low poly mesh, because the faces of the walls and stuff, they will not go to ZBrush, or they will not receive any kind of sculpting and stuff. So I guess it would be okay to leave them like this, but it was so quick to do it. It's not worth it leaving them like that. So I decided to clean them up a little bit. So a lot of stuff happened lately. For those of you who didn't know, I moved to Dublin, which boy oh boy did that change in my life. Like it's a like complete roller coaster for me at the moment, but it happens. So it's a big change, for better and worse. It depends on how you look at things, but I am actually now working at Brownback Films in Dublin, which I love the company and everything. But because of my my moving and stuff, I had to sell all of my gear, all my computers and stuff that I had in Macedonia, and now I am basically trying to put back, get my gear back. So because my computer was pretty old, I decided to sell it and just buy a new one. But as you all know, when you do that kind of stuff, it's a big time investment to do something like this, because all of your scripts, your hotkeys, everything You'll need to reassign, redo, copy, organize files, hard drives. Uh, it's fun, to say the least. So because it's been wild with all my visas and stuff, figure out all the documents, paperwork of moving into another country. Like I don't have a lot of my stuff figured out yet. Like if you can notice, even my damn Windows is not activated. Like I'm trying to prioritize what what should I do, and Microsoft, they can wait for a couple of days until I get my tutorials done because Christmas cannot wait. And yeah, basically. So the point of all of this is, try to make priorities, in your life, because there's always going to be something that will block you or stop you, of doing stuff. But just by making little tweaks, in your daily routines, a little tweaks, in your habits, you can actually get done a lot, and you will feel a lot better. Um, for example, uh, if I don't have time to work on my personal stuff because I live far away from work, I will do something like I'm not gonna, spend 2 hours cooking my meal. When I come home, I'm gonna order something. I'm gonna waste a little bit of money, but I will save 2 hours, which I can use to do a speed sculpt, practice my anatomy, do all this kind of stuff. So, it's not ideal. It never will be. So I guess you will just have to, you know, go with the flow, and yeah, like if you don't have all your scripts, if you don't have all your tools, just make a fun exercise for yourself, and try to make something without it. Try to, like, you don't have ZBrush, let's say your license is, I don't know, still back down by the old machine, you can get it back in time. Just do box modeling. It's not ideal, but it's a good practice. And you'll learn, regardless of what you do, you will learn something new, and it will not be in vain. So you know choose your battles, as they say. But definitely do not do anything because of reasons, because there's always going to be reasons to not to not do anything. But we got to look past that. We got to look, how can I overcome that and still do what I want to do. For example, there was I don't know if you guys remember, there's a character in my Artstation, on my Artstation profile, that it's like an old goblin teacher type. So that happened in the very, it was very sudden. I needed something slightly more realistic for my show reel, because I was going to go in Stuttgart in Germany on FMX. So to present that, I had a lot of stylized characters, but not a lot of creature realistic type of work. And there was going to be companies from all over the world who deal with creature stuff, not just stylized per se. So as soon as I started to work, I get all the sculpt done and everything. I launched Mari, just to realize my license expired 2 months ago, and because I was not using Mari for a while, I didn't even notice. And I didn't have the budget at the moment to extend my license, and they didn't have the trial free type of license at the moment that they have now, which is non-commercial version, that kind of stuff. So I decided, okay, I'm not gonna allow that to stop me, because let's see what I can do. So at the moment, I just had purchased Painter license, and I was like, okay, let's try to do a full texturing workflow for a realistic character in Painter. And it was hard, I'm not gonna lie. Like, Painter has a lot of disabilities, when you're dealing with displacement paintings and that kind of stuff. For example, a lot of the textures that I use from XYZ are not square, and if you want to do like stencil projection type of thing in Painter, guess what? You need to square them out. So I had to do a lot of conversions, a lot of tweaking, and then UDIMs were off the charts because at the moment Painter didn't had UDIM workflow support, and well, even now they do have it, but it's still not ideal. So it was not fun at times. Like I felt like quitting, but I didn't, and I'm glad I didn't, because in the end I did finish the character fully textured in Painter, little tweaks in Photoshop, and I, if I'm honest, if I was going to do it in Mari, probably would look a little bit better, just because of how Mari handles displacement and stuff, and you can do like 3 levels of displacement, but it's not that big of a difference where I was gonna not put it in my show reel just because of that. So it was a sacrifice that I was willing to take, and it actually I got pretty well, pretty positive response on that. So lesson from that would be, do not let your technology and tools and circumstance limit you, because you're always gonna have that. So yeah, that's it for this chapter. In the next one, we would actually take a little break from modeling, set up some lights just to see what kind of atmosphere we're gonna go for, and yeah, thank you guys for tuning in for this one, and I will see you in the next video.